Okay, everyone, we are now officially live on YouTube. Exactly at 13:30, I will start the meeting, and somewhere around the 13:32 mark, I will hand it over to Nimit, who will then hand it over to Sonali at somewhere around 13:25. So we are 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have started this yet another edition of Turning Point on Sunday. Welcome everyone to Turning Point on Sunday. My name is Rupinder and I am proud and privileged to be your Sergeant at Arms for today. Today, the session is about something that I'm not very good at. I am trying my hardest to come up with some sort of an expression, but I know that I'm looking more funny than concerned. So I will just state the meeting rules. First of all, this meeting and every meeting, in my opinion, should require that you have your videos on, particularly today's meeting, because it is about making your face talk with facial expression. So I would request everyone for whom it is possible to please turn on their respective videos. Unless you're facing bandwidth issues, I totally understand, but then you will not have how do I put it, a wholesome experience, a holistic experience, if you will. So I would request everyone to please turn on their videos, because this whole exercise depends on videos being on. That's number one. Second, I would request everyone to unmute only when they are asked to unmute. Please do not unmute yourself unnecessarily. Third, when a speaker is on stage, please do not broadcast a message, as in send a message to everyone on the stage, everyone in the room. You can indulge in private messaging, though I would request you to focus on the speaker on stage. Fourth, and very important, I understand that this is a digital medium. However, we've tried our best to give you icons such as this one and this one and this one. And if you want to laugh, you've got this one. So please, and if you want to celebrate, you've got this icon. Plus, you also got yes, no icons, and you can raise a hand. You've got a lot of ways to respond, so please exercise your fingers on the mouse or your touchscreen devices, and let the speaker know how you are feeling, so that the speaker also gets a first hand impression. That is the closest that we can come to an actual stage. This is a fun meeting. Relax and enjoy, because the person who's going to give this give this module, I've seen her as one of the most relaxed people in Turning Point Toastmasters. Moving on to someone who is not at times relaxed, and he has a very good reason not to be relaxed, because he's the president of this club, and on his broad shoulders lies the success or the failure of this club. So far, he's had a very successful stint. We have scored about 8 goals in total. We got the Rising Star Silver Award, and it is my extreme honor and privilege to hand it over to the person who made it all possible while still learning the ropes of leadership. Let's welcome our presiding officer, our general evaluator in the last meeting, and I'm trying to find another description for him, but let me not waste time. Let's welcome Toastmaster Nimit Mittal.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the Lord of the Sings. You indeed are Lord of the Sings. Welcome everyone once again to this turning point on Sunday. And let me just quickly start with a short story. 2 years ago, me and my wife went for a vacation to Kerala, the God's own country. After spending 2 days in the nature's nest and adventuring We were having a quiet time at our resort when my wife came across a pamphlet of a local Kathakali show. She insisted that we go there. Being a typical North Indian, I wasn't keen for a boring evening. I rather wanted to spend my evening on the beach. But how did it matter? You know where we went. Well, the show started with a play with two characters, played by a mother and her son, who was an eligible bachelor, and they both were dressed in a typical Kathakali folk attire and were discussing about love and arranged marriages. In the next scene, the boy was seen dancing joyously with his love interest. The entire play went on like that. The story went on and it started growing on me. The reason I am not sure because it was not about the dialogues. There were no dialogues as such. There were no words, and there was little mudras or hand gestures as they call it, but there was vivid facial expressions and eye expressions. This was the learning I got there from there. The show didn't disappoint at all in the end. And at the end of the day, I got this learning of life that the face can talk and it can talk and it can say it all. Well, friends, I would not talk more because we have our great facilitator for the day, who I would like to call upon. She is a special lady, not a Kathakali performer as such, but still a master in the art of facial expressions, an epitome of clear, effective, and impactful communication. With a huge round of applause, let me welcome Toastmaster Sonali, the queen of facial expressions herself. Welcome, Toastmaster Sonali. Over to you.
Thank you, Nimit, for this wonderful introduction. Well, I wouldn't say myself as the queen of facial expressions. I'm sure a lot of you already are, but we'll learn our bits during the session today. So, thank you again for joining us. We have 31 participants as of now. I'm hoping a lot of the others will also join. And thank you for ditching Netflix on a Sunday afternoon, which probably sounds more exciting, but I hope to prove that wrong. Uh, and I'd just like to start with talking about Toastmasters. I've been with Toastmasters for, I guess, 9 months now. That was one of the very few good things that happened with me in 2020. So I joined in January of this year. And I remember giving my first speech online in March. And I was super nervous because that's the first time all others were hearing me speak. And the pressure doubled when I realized that the entire focus will be on my face. So I had to work more on keeping this interesting. Just so I had to work more on keeping this interesting. And boy, was it tough. How many of you have been spending most of your time on video calls? Do a raise of hand. That's there on the participants panel. Do a raise of hand if you spend most of your time on video calls. If you're unable to raise your hands, maybe write in the chat box. Any office, college, friends, family, right? So you know what I'm talking about, right? Even though the spotlight features that I've been just literally going through, spotlighting the feature are cool, it does build up the extra work for the speaker to do. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about today. Now, before we begin, one small request from you all, and I guess everybody has repeated that, but the speaker itself has to say this. This is going to be an engaging session on facial expressions. And if I break down the etymology, it has a word face in it. So I want everybody to show their faces all the time. Next 1 hour, I want to see everybody's faces, and I'm going to literally check if everybody's showing it or not. Let's see. I'm going to call out people who've not switched on the videos because this is going to be a waste if you don't switch on the videos. Rajesh Bajaj, Unique, Vineet Sahu, Vivek Sahu, Nasir, Rahul Vardhan, Abhishek Dhawan, the name D, Ajay K, Nasir Khan. All right, I'll wait. Take your time. Take your time to feel comfortable. You need a second to fix your hair, wash your face, blur the background. I don't care, but take that time and switch on your videos. And that's for two reasons. If you think this session is a one-way communication, then you're wrong. This is a two-way thing. I like to believe that if a picture is a worth 1,000 words, then a facial expression is at least 2,000 words. Even when you have your audios off, you are still communicating with me, receiving wordless signals. All of your non-verbal gestures, the gestures you make, the sounds, the body language that you have, the eye contact that you make, you send strong messages, and I want those messages. And second reason that I want you to switch on your videos is that we have some activities. And those can only be fun if you have your videos on. And you know what good thing about video calls is that others can't see your entire body. They don't have a direct in-person eye contact to form a connection. And they can rarely see gestures because of the small allotted space. The only two things they focus on is what you speak and what face you make while speaking it. This means that acing those facial expressions can go a long way in persuading your audience. And unlike some forms of nonverbal communication, facial expressions are universal. The facial expressions are the same across cultures, countries, genders, ages, etc. For instance, a professor of psychology did a study on people's expression, comparing blind athletes' expressions after winning or losing in Paralympics with the sighted athletes' reactions during Summer Olympics. And interestingly, the blind people displayed the same spontaneous expressions of happiness or sadness as sighted people without even knowing how it actually looks like. And here's another amazing fact. The muscles of the face can adjust themselves into at least 10,000 configurations. There are 10,000 expressions that you can make from your face. Don't worry, we're not going to go there. But the researchers have defined 7 basic emotions that are universal: joy, fear, sadness, contempt, surprise, anger, and disgust. For the curious minds thinking, how did they shortlist only 7 out of the 10,000? In 1967, there was a doctor who traveled to Papua New Guinea. That's a small isolated country lying somewhere above Australia. So he went there to study the non-verbal behavior of the people who are completely isolated from the rest of the world. There's no TV, no magazine, and no tourists. So he told them a few scenarios and photographed their expressions. The culmination of the study led to declaring those expressions as 7 universal emotions. Before we move forward, let's practice these expressions. Consider this as a warm-up for your face and face muscles. At least you can proudly say that after the session, you did some exercise on a Sunday afternoon. So quick reminder to keep your videos on because you have to practice it along with me. You can look at the camera, you can look at the screen, get a mirror, switch on your front camera, whatever seems doable for you. And let's practice and see how we can match the expressions. Okay, this one, we have neutral. This is how you all are looking right now. I guess this is one of our favorites. It's the most used expression in at least the business world. It can be of a nature to frown when we're upset or smile when something goes away. And living through our adult life, we all have mastered to employ a poker face to be able to hide our emotions with a blank face when we are upset. And this actually comes in very handy if you're trying to appear neutral to maybe what your boss just said, or when you heard a gossip you shouldn't have heard. But the expressions we need to master in the virtual world are these. The first one is happy or joy. Let's practice this one. It's a big smile on your face. It's symbolized by raising of the mouth corners and of the smile and tightening of the eyelids. Let's do a joyous face. I see everybody doing it. Be over exaggerated with the expressions. Open up your face muscles. Perfect. That's good. The next one we have is fear. I am sure we know how this is done, symbolized by upper eyelids raising, eyes opening wide, and lips stretching horizontally. Let's do that. I can't speak. I have to see you doing it. Yeah, that's I'm calling fear. Fear. Pretty good. Next is sadness. Your entire face droops down. Your eyelids are drooping down. Your eyebrows are descending to the inner corners. Your mouth corners are open. Let's do sadness. Nimit, I am not seeing you doing the sad face. I'm gonna call down people. Yes, yes, that's good. The next one we have is contempt. Now it's an expression you feel when you think a person or a thing is worthless. So it's an asymmetrical face structure. It symbolizes only half of the upper lip tightening up. Yep, everybody's acing it. This is the simple one. Next we have is surprise. It's symbolized by your face muscles opening wide and showing more of it. Eyebrows arching up, eyes opening wide and exposing more white with the jaw dropping. Oh, nailing it, guys. Brilliant. Next we have is anger. Now I'm sure everybody knows this. Everybody in their life has once at least has this emotion. Symbolized by eyebrows lowering, lips pursing firmly, and eyes bulging out. Very good. And the last that we have is disgust. Think of something very disgustful, and I'm sure you'll already have that face. It's done by upper lip raising, nose bridge wrinkling, and cheeks raising. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, that was good. How does your face feel? Mine feels all warmed up. Keep, yeah, you don't need to copy me now, but yes, it feels brilliant, right? You can nod your heads and communicate with me non-verbally if you feel the same. Good. So these expressions fall into two different categories, all these, depending on how you're reacting to and with how much intensity. First is macro expressions, the natural range of displayed emotions that we're all doing right now. Typically lasts up to 4 seconds and occur in a daily interactions, generally obvious to the naked eye. This is something we all can control. The tricky part is the micro expressions. They last less than half a second. They're very brief, involuntary facial expressions, and that usually occur in high stake and stressful situations. They happen when a person is consciously trying to conceal how they are feeling. And some people, for example, like professional card players, they have practiced extensively to control their facial expressions so that they do not show excitement and give away information from their feelings, from their face, when they have a particular good hand at playing a card. On the other hand, they're also being taught how to read those micro expressions of other players so they can have an upper hand on quickly identifying who's bluffing. But none of us here are card players, right? Unless, if I'm wrong, Mr. and Miss Card Player, please come forward and show us your tricks. Nobody. Okay. So most of us here communicate majorly with our friends, our teachers, our parents, colleagues, and business partners. So we're never taught what facial expressions to use and when, because generally it occurs involuntarily. The main problem occurs when the other person reads that expression differently, and there is no way you can figure that out. If you say one thing, but your facial expression says something else, your listener will likely feel that you are being dishonest. For example, if I say, I'm loving your enthusiasm while showing this face, you wouldn't know what to believe. When faced with such signals where you had to choose whether to believe what I just said or the face I made, you would probably believe my face. Because body language is natural, it speaks an unconscious language that broadcasts your true feelings. You will always be likely to pick the non-verbal message rather than the verbal message. So managing both aspects of your communication is a must. Now, in order to be more authentic with your facial expressions, here are my 2 cents. Actually, 5 cents. It's a list that I've prepared. First one is connect with your content. Bring life to the words that you say. You'll be connected to those words, and only and only if you understand the true meaning of it. Example, try smiling like a big smile. Everybody, let's just try smiling. And say, I'm angry in the most ferocious voice you can. Smile and say you're angry. See, I'm just so confused what to believe. Apart from feeling that you all are acting a little silly right now, you've just proven yourself that your facial expressions contradict what you just said. And the expressions create dynamism. They give the impression that you stand behind your ideas and believe in them. Here are some of the reasons why facial expressions can leave your audience confused. First is tension, and that's particularly in new speakers and or people who are trying speaking for the first time. Tension is leading cause of why facial expression can find itself plastered on your face. I've seen some novice presenters say, "It's wonderful to be here," yet they're saying it through their gritted teeth. The nervousness has risen to the surface and is being shown on their faces. The best way to deal with this is to get the right message across. Express yourself more clearly, even if that means you have to speak more. So, in the example above, if in fact you are grateful that you're here, say with that expression and maybe hint about your nervousness in the next statement, which shows exactly that. It's so great to be here. It's my first time speaking at the conference, and I'm a tad bit nervous looking at the audience, but I'm let's see how this goes. So it tells the exact feelings. I showed my enthusiasm right at the beginning, and I showed my nervousness. I've broken down my feelings into two, and I'm not mixing it up. Number two reason of why this happens: doubt, not believing in the message. If you don't believe in what you are telling your audience, you will convey this in your speech. For example, there have been times in office when I've seen people coming and wishing their colleagues, maybe on maybe congratulating on their promotion or coming and wishing them on the birthday. The way they'll do is they'll come and say, "Hey, very happy birthday. Hope you have a great one." The very next second, they have this poker face, a switch in the facial expression. Now, this is not very well received if you do not have a control over your facial expressions. So, the first thing you need to do is believe in the message, feel the message, and say it with that emotion. The last pointer is whenever we have a long speech or a presentation, we often start with a great enthusiasm and superb expressions, but then slowly tend to forget to keep up with those. And this can only improve with practice. So let's do a small exercise again on connecting with your content. This will involve some part of your imagination as well. A little background on this exercise. So I attended a few workshops with National School of Drama a long time back, and this was one of the exercise they made us all do to be more expressive. One of my favorites because it was so fun doing it yourself and then evaluating how others are doing it. Again, I need volunteers. Raise of hands this time. Wow, I've already seen a good raise of hands. Let me call out. Any raise of hands again? I have. Uh, let's actually start with a demo so that people can understand. Can I call upon Urfia if she's there on the call? I don't see her. That's fine. Let's do it with Gayatri Deshmukh. Okay. So what I want everybody is to switch on again their videos. Gayatri, you have a video on. Great. The exercise is that I'm going to give you a situation. You have to think about it and react with the facial expression you think that it will fit most appropriately. You have to keep the audio off. That's fine. Facial expression is what you're looking for. So there's a situation that I'll give, and you can take a time to think about it. Just come up with a facial expression that will fit that situation most appropriately. In the meantime, what I'd like others to do is use your keypad and type what you think the actor is doing. Not what you think it's the most appropriate expression, but what you think the actor thinks the most appropriate expression is while looking at them act. So I'd like to call Gayatri on the stage, and if Techmaster can spotlight her for a second. Gayatri Deshmukh, your situation. is if you realize you have ants in your pants. Everybody, please keep typing what you think is what you think she's expressing. I see a little bit of fear. I see a little bit of pain and embarrassment. Fear. I see Ashok Guru typing fear. Most of them correct. Fear. That's one. Great, great. That's good. That's good. I'm glad you didn't show any joy because that would have been weird for all of us to consider. Well done, Gayatri. That's good. I need a second volunteer. Uh, Rajesh Bajaj, could you switch on the video and come on the stage? Techmaster, could you spotlight Rajesh? You can keep the audio off. Now I'm going to give you a situation. You just have to act. If you heard that cure for coronavirus has been found, if you heard that cure for coronavirus has been found, what's your facial expression? Rajesh, we won't be able to hear you. You just have to express it with your face. That's the activity. Just express it with the face if you heard this news. Okay, let's go on with the next one. Who else would like to express this idea? Nasir Khan, can you come on the stage? Nasir Khan. Can we have Nasir Khan spotlighted? Yeah. If you heard that cure for coronavirus has been found. Are you angry? This is your angry face, I would say. Is that it? What is everybody thinking? How else is everybody thinking? What is the face that Nasir is making?
Like Boomerang after taking a wicket.
That's a neutral face. This was supposed to be a joyous face, but I get your feeling. You're not happy that the cure for coronavirus is found. So it's good if that's what you were trying to express. You had a neutral face. You don't know how to react. Great one. We'll go with the two more, I guess. I have Kanika Bhatt. Kanika Bhatt, can I have you on the spotlight? Nasir, can you mute yourself? Perfect, thank you. Kanika, we have you next up. Let's see. If you just realized you forgot your mother's birthday, the facial expression. Now I see sadness, I see surprise, and I see confusion. Is that it? Well, let's see what other people are thinking. What are you thinking Kanika is expressing? Guilt, thinking, guilt, correct, nervous. I see an oh shit on her face. Yes, yes. Kanika, is that right? I guess you're not happy about forgetting your mother's birthday. Good. That's a good sign. You're right there. I'll do one more.
Sonali, one thing, if you want, I can spotlight more than one people side by side. So if you want to do that,
Yeah, that will be great.
so you pick your people. I'll spotlight them.
Okay, let's do one last one. Raise of hand who wants to go next.
Khushbu wants to go. I'm spotlighting Khushbu.
Perfect. Let's do Khushbu.
And anyone else who would like to be spotlighted parallel to Khushbu? Rajesh wants to be spotlighted. I'm adding Rajesh to spotlight.
Okay, we'll have
So
two
now
more.
you can see Rajesh and Khushbu both on stage.
Yes.
And by the way, this is how we will show timing cards going forward.
Okay. Great. Okay, Khushbu. So yours is if you want to go to the bathroom really bad, what's the facial expression? So that's oh yeah, that you can't stay there any longer. It's embarrassment, it's pain. What else? Chat, if you think impatient, that's a good one. That's a good one. What else do we have? What else do we see from our expression? Great, that's a good one. Thanks, Khushbu, for doing that. Very well. It was quite clear to me that you were not happy with the situation. Rajesh, the last one to you. If your phone starts ringing right now and you see it that it's from your boss, ooh, are you happy? Are you sad? You're confused? You don't know? you're feeling helpless. It's a helpless one. Arey, yeah, that's a perfect emotion to it. How else? How else would you exaggerate your expression so that we understand? And people write down whatever you think he's trying to express. That's sad. That's a confused face, and I totally can get it. I don't have my boss in this session, so it's good. Worried, what the hell? That's all good. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this activity. It was a warm up to that one. Uh, and now, Rupender, you can spotlight just me again. Now that you've understood how to express what we feel, we are 80% already there. I am going to wait till I get spotlighted.
Can you spotlight her, please?
Perfect. I think Khushbu is spotlighted for me. Khushbu, do you want to go ahead and continue the session? Sorry. Okay.
Just one word to Rupinder. Since I'm using my mobile phone, I can only see one person spotlighted at a time.
That's a good note. Thanks, Anand. The second point, coming back to the 5 cents that we talked about, the second point, always smile. If you're giving a speech, presentation, talking to the public, where you're trying to make a person comfortable, start out with a smile. If I would have started today's session with a frown, half of you would have left by now. The others would have stayed just to know what drugs am I on. So smiling will show your audience that you're happy to be there and confident of the material that you're going to deliver. While your smile may be a little forced, especially if you're nervous, and I get that, try to make it as natural as possible. I usually think of something that makes me happy before I'm about to stand up and say something. And I hold on to that thought before I begin my speech or presentation. Try that with yourself, and it will make your smile seem more organic and believable. Because genuine smiles travel all the way up to your eyes. And one key reminder here is to remember to smile on the telephone. This is the only greatest expression that comes through in your voice. So even if you're on a voice call, it's okay. Don't forget to smile while speaking. Number 3, this tip is one of my favorite and the most underused one. Observe your audience. Just as your facial expressions provide insight into your emotions, your audience's expressions also provide insight into their emotions. So if they have a neutral face, now if you all had a neutral face right now, I would have believed that you are getting bored. If your eyes were somewhere else, I would have believed that you are not interested in me anymore. On the other hand, I can see that a lot of you are nodding your heads and a lot of you are just interested in smiling and receptive to what I'm saying. It shows your joy and excitement. So I can feel and decipher what you're feeling by looking at your non-verbal emotions. This means that you will be better able to adjust your content spontaneously based on how others are reacting. Let me give you some examples. So try saying, I'm so glad to see you all agree when people nod, and you will see more nods afterwards. When people have a confused face and you want to just target that, you may say, you might be questioning my methods and I understand why. Let me tell you why this is the best way to go. If you see mixed expression, somebody is smiling, somebody is not, somebody is having a neutral face, and you need to confirm the meaning of their facial expressions, you can ask, I'm sensing some concern. What questions do you have? Or say, please let me know if you're not in agreement on this. Now, this is somewhere where you can use this advantage, use understanding the facial expressions, you can use this to your own advantage. Look for the emotion on the face of others, learn to recognize what their expressions communicate, and then practice coupling those expressions with the face and emotions you want to convey. Number 4, practice. Practice in front of a mirror or record yourself or in front of your friends, family. The more you practice in a normal conversation like this, the better your expressions are going to get. And get feedback. Ask someone you trust to evaluate your face as you speak informally. What habits do you have that you may not be aware of? For example, in Toastmaster speech, after giving a speech, I got a feedback that I usually frown a lot. And I do that. And I try to just make sure that I don't do that as often. So I read somewhere, watch your favorite Netflix film on mute, and you'll be amazed how much you can follow them from the non-verbal clues provided by the character. Back in the olden days, when films used to be silent, actors relied solely on their facial expressions to convey their feelings. Because of this, everything had to be over exaggerated, and rightly so. With the advent of sound, there is little need for such aesthetics. But the idea of being able to convey a story with just your face has not changed. So here's what I do when I preparing for a speech or a presentation, or if I know I have to go on a stage and talk about something. I record myself doing that end to end and then watch it again with no sound. If the expressions alone generates enough interest for me to switch on the audio to know what I'm talking about, that means I've killed it. And it usually takes me 2 to 3 takes before I even start killing it. Since none of us here are Bollywood actors, we have to work harder to display more than our go-to emotions. Actually, wait, who am I lying? Even Bollywood actors can't do that anymore, right? But I have a fun activity right now for this practice. Few volunteers again. This is going to be fun. Probably not the same ones who did before. I need somebody new to come up on the stage. And reminder to keep your videos on. We can spotlight 2, 3 people simultaneously. I can get the raise of hands before. Let me see who is getting it. I have Madhav Upadhyay. Can I have him on the stage? Anybody else who wants to go? I know I have a few couple of friends attending this, so I can call them up. Uh, Anybody else who wants to go for this fun activity? You can keep your audios off. You just have to show your face. That's all. Madhav, I have. Anybody from my club who'd like to go? And I have Kanika Bhatt again. Kanika will give you a chance later if nobody else comes in.
I can.
Mayank,
Mayank says,
we want to know the activity first. You'll be very good at it. So let's do Mayank, Anand, Rupender. Okay, let's do all four then. Let's start with them. I have Madhav, Mayank, Anand, and Rupender. It's the guys' team. Can we get them spotlighted?
since I am using my mobile and only one person can be spotlighted or visible at a time, I will be doing one person at a time. Works?
Works.
Okay. So who first?
Madhav, let's do Madhav. So the activity is going to be, I'll give you a topic. You have to keep yourself muted for this one and speak on that topic. For about 15 to 20 seconds. Now, what you have to do is use your facial expressions while you speak. You can hear yourself speak. You should have the content about it because it's an easy topic. But your faces should help us know how you feel about the topic. So, audience, get your keypads ready. We need to type what Madhav is feeling about the topic that I'm going to give him. And actors, get your faces ready. So let me do a quick demo if it's not okay. Let me do a quick demo. For example, my topic, or let's start. You have been already spotlighted. It's an easy one. Let's do it. Your topic is horror movies. Horror movies. Horror movies. I see some facial expressions. Please write that down. Excited, happy. Right, your time is up. I think you've spoken a lot, and I think you're talking about happy and you like horror movies. Give me a thumbs up if that's the correct one. Great. So that means that you had the right emotions on your face. That's a good one. That's a good one. I saw the horror movies, though it wasn't horror at all. Kushbu, that's good point. Let's move on to the next volunteer. Whom do we have next? Anand, do you want to go yourself?
Sure.
Perfect. Let's do, this will be a good one. Keep yourself on mute and speak. We should not hear you speak and only your facial expressions. Your topic is marriage. He's a married man, so let's see. Blank. That's number one. Everybody, please type in what you think he's saying. I think he's angry. I think he's angry. He's surprised why I'm giving his topic. Well, good, good. Anand, your time is over. I think people have said suicidal, not happy. Why this topic? I am gone today. Why he got married? He's blushing, he's shaking it.
Oh!
Great,
Oh,
great.
it's, epic.
Can people be on mute? That's a lot of emotions right there. Good. That was good one, Anand. You had a lot of expressions on your face, and everybody got, I think, the gist of it. Next one. Can we have Mayank on the stage? Mayank spotlighted.
Done.
Done. Okay, let's go with this one. Your topic is your boss. Your boss isn't here, so feel free to be as emotive as possible. I see a bit neutral face and I see a bit of surprise. What do you all think? Keep writing. He's trying best to be neutral. Yes, he is. I think so too. What else do you think he's doing? He's serious about the topic. He's professional, okay. But he's making fun of his boss in his head. Probably. He's being diplomatic. Mike, were you being diplomatic and not showing any facial expressions and being neutral just to avoid anything? Is that it? Yes? Okay. Okay. So if that's what you were trying to depict, you got it right. Right there. Let's do two more. I have placed two more. Who else is going to be? Rupender, do you want to go next? Let's have Rupender. So your topic is the year 2020. You have to speak on the topic, yeah. I see all expressions right there in front. Upset, sad, what a horrible year. Angry, he's furious, he's shouting, there's aggression. There is, oh my God. Okay, it's overwhelming. I can't do that anymore. I've got it. You're brilliant, brilliant acting right there. That's screaming at Sonali. Very well done, Rupinder. Very well done. That's great. I have scope for one more. Let's do one more. Anybody else who wants to volunteer?
Nimit.
Let's do Nimit. Nimit spotlighted. Now this is going to be a fun one. This topic is my favorite. Nimit, your topic is this session. I'm gonna get my feedback one way or the other. You have to speak on it. Yeah, you have to speak on it.
Have to speak.
Be on mute. Speak on the topic. Just use your facial expressions as well. The topic is this session. You're amazed. You're amazed. You're surprised. You're mind blowing. Well, people are writing. Thank you so much. That's what I needed, really. Why me? Good work. Glad to see you doing that. Thank you, Nimit, for doing that. This was brilliant. I hope you enjoyed this activity as well. This is something that you can try with your friends and family too. Wherever you want to practice, use your phone and exaggerate, like people here have done. Exaggerate your emotions. At least 50% of it will actually come in the real world. The key, as with all the communication, is to be authentic. Know what you want to communicate, believe in your authority, point of view, and then deliver with your words and your mouth. Number 5, get your inspiration. Think of a great personality. Someone for whom you keep everything aside and just watch them speak. I'm not talking about your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, or husband, but someone who would express his or her emotions brilliantly. Now, it could be them also, but it could be your teacher, a friend, your parent, a boss, an actor, or an orator from whom you would take the inspiration from. Now, personally, for me, it has been this famous YouTuber, not sure if you know about her, goes by the real name Mostly Sane and real name of Prajakta Kohli. Now, this is not a sponsored session and she's not going to pay me for what I say about this. But she's someone I like watching, irrespective of whether she has an audio or not. Her face is always full of expressions, and that's why, to me, she comes across as a person who's fun and cool and very spontaneous and inclusive. So what I do is I watch her videos, which I may or may not like because her content is not really my calling. I try to focus on the way she uses her face into the videos and get inspiration from there. If you don't have one yet or don't know where to start, maybe look her up and see if that works for you. Now, with COVID changing literally everything in the world, I can foresee two new challenges with the facial expressions. Number one is beginning of the digital era, or let's use a cooler term here, the social dilemma era. One of the reasons that people often complain about telephone and emails is that they don't allow you to have any non-verbal communication. This means that a huge part of the meaning can be lost. A lot of you may think it's easier for you to communicate over telephone or a voice call because you can skip showing your face and directly deliver your message. But in reality, you're losing half the essence of the message right there. Professionals say that we need to work much harder on conveying our emotions through our voice because our face is not visible. And to combat this to some extent, we have adopted using emojis or emoticons to express our emotions in mails and social media. Irrespective of whether you find those as fun, silly, or sometimes even irritating, this simply underlines the importance of a non-verbal communication. Even video capability platforms like Zoom that have come up with reaction emojis to help people show how they're feeling. But in my experience, I don't think it's a great substitute. You are bound to lose that personal touch. It will get so much more difficult to start showing your real emotions once everything goes back to normal. So, as what my colleague mentioned one day, who met his friend after 7 months of being in his house with his parents. So, when he met, he said he was really happy to meet a person in real life and he was so excited to finally get out of the house. But when he removed his mask, guess what his facial expressions were? The ultimate poker face. Not because that's how he was feeling. His face just couldn't speak. He said it was so weird to get comfortable around a different face, and it took him 10-15 minutes to get to his usual self. Now imagine if this stay at home situation goes longer than a year. People who would have been sitting at homes without much real interaction and shying away behind social media, real life, and emoticons, how difficult it will become for them when they'll see a human after so long in real life. The best way to fight this is to interact with as many people as you can, virtually or physically, of course, keeping in mind the social distancing norms. Involve your face whenever you speak. Try to read others' faces and don't shy away from exaggerating your expressions, and only then you can ace the power of facial expressions. And the number two challenge, the use of masks. I forgot to keep a mask here, but let's do that. In general, humans tend to process the face as a whole, rather than focusing on individual features. So when it comes to studying faces, the eyes and the mouth are the most informative regions. They tend to be the most expressive ones. The mouth region is, in particular, is good at expressing expressions like happiness. Now, concealing this area can be problematic when people say want to come across as more approachable and friendly. And this particular issue actually led to a disbelief that doctors aren't approachable because, especially during COVID times, they had to wear almost like 24/7. Hence, that led to a number of healthcare workers, at least in the US, who started pasting a smiley face pictures of themselves onto their medical gowns in a bid to ease patients' anxiety. Now, imagine if the rest of the world started doing this. Everybody is just having a photo of themselves, a smiley photo of themselves on the top. It is going to get so weird. So, the best case scenario is trying to improve while wearing a mask. Now let's do a redo of our first activity. If you can get a mask, go get one right now. Go get one right now, a mask if you can. And let's do the first activity that we did. If you don't have a mask, let's try to cover at least a face with that one. Now, the first activity was we did the basics of our face muscles. That was a warm up. Now, what we'll do is a cool down of our facial muscles again. Videos on have your masks on. I don't have it, but I'll see everybody else doing it for this time. If you don't have a mask, try to cover your nose and your mouth with your hand, and let's see how we do this one. Let's do number one. That's joy. How are we doing joy? Let me see your happy faces. Okay. Let me see your happy faces with the mask on. With the mask on. Everything with the mask on. I want to see how the joy looks like. Okay, let's do fear. How does fear look like? You're afraid. Remember, fear was lips horizontal, eyes perched down. That was fear. Okay. Sadness. Let's do sadness with the masks on. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's do contempt. Now this one's tough. Nobody will be able to. That's one side of your mouth tilted. Let's do surprise. Eyes, mouth, everything open up. Anger. Next is anger. Some of you are doing it pretty well with your eyes. Last is disgust. Disgust. Great. For most of you, it looked like you're not even doing anything. You can keep your masks off. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for doing this. Thank you, everybody, for doing this again. But for most of you, it looked like you were not even doing anything. And that's the point what I'm trying to express. It gets 90% more difficult to read and understand your facial expressions. People who wear a veil have been taught communicating through just your eyes, including hand gestures, body language, pitch, tone, acting together in a congruous way to convey the message and intent. As a part of the speech contest that our club organized a few weeks back, I got the opportunity to mentor someone who's from Saudi Arabia. Now, she wears a veil almost all the time. So I had a hard time understanding how she's going to convey her facial expressions. Instead, she told me that they had subjects in their schools that would teach them how to communicate just through their eyes. And boy, did she ace it. That's when I read about eye communication. It's all about noticing whether people are making the direct eye contact or averting your gaze, how much they are blinking, or their pupils are dilated. People often like blink more rapidly when they're feeling distressed, and their eyes are wrinkled when they're smiling, as you would have already seen. Now, this could be an entire different session on its own, yes. But I guess for now, what you can try to do is to over communicate, to use more words than you would normally would, and ask more questions to make sure you're correctly picking up on the other person's emotions. Masks are here to stay for the foreseeable future, but the time and effort that you put into internalizing these tips won't just pay off during the pandemic, but they'll continue to help you communicate more effectively when we're all able to show our full faces again. And God, I hope that comes very soon. That's all I had. I guess if we have more time, we can open up for questions, feedbacks, review suggestions, anything. That's all I had. We can have the audios off. If somebody has any questions, come up on the stage. We can chat on the chat box. And I can probably hand it over to presiding officer or sergeant at arms, Upendra sir. Khushbu, yes, you can come up on the stage probably and ask a question.
So my question is, I have a problem of frowning a lot. Like even good news, okay? Good news also at times I come out because it's so much is there, you know?
Yeah.
Like this becomes very prominent.
Prominent. I get that.
And I've got a lot of feedback from my mentors and my seniors and trainers that when you are happy, it doesn't show on your face. Despite being a drama educator, this is an inherent problem. And I have been working on it a lot. So what is your take on it?
Well, that is something that I can resonate with a lot. As I've said, I frown a lot while speaking. Something that helps for me is my voice modulation. Sometimes when you're happy, you show it with your voice more than your face as well. So your words can overpower your facial expressions if you have a great voice and great expressions in your voice as well. I practice a lot with my facial expressions, looking at the mirror, as I said. one of the things that I do, if you're not a Toastmaster, this is something that helps in being a Toastmaster in speeches that we do. I usually ask my evaluator to count the number of times I've probably frowned in a speech. And I make sure that count decreases after each speech. Or when I record myself, I count the number of times that I've frowned. Always do happy emotions. Always try to react happily. And make sure you have your happy face, even if you're trying. Sometimes it will just mend into your face and probably that will help.
Thank you.
No problem. Do we have any other question? Gayatri, go ahead.
Sonali, now today's session, whatever you said, it actually appears like you have put in a lot of work in it for past, I don't know how many weeks and how many months. I have one question, like sometimes now there are a few things you said, we know about it, but implementing them, how do we do that? I mean, sometimes you know that what you're doing is wrong, but still somewhere you just end up doing the same thing. How do we overcome that? Is there some other trick that you implemented that can
So
help us?
that's a great question, Gayatri. I think this is something that works in every aspect, not just facial expressions, but every other aspect that you're working on. Keeping a track of what you've been doing and making sure you improve on that. The things that we do in, say, Toastmasters. So people who are unaware of Toastmasters, I'm just going to give you an example because I'm more closely associated with it, and I see that that has helped me improve. So what happens is, if you're giving a speech in a Toastmasters, there's an evaluator who evaluates you. Now they evaluate you on number of aspects, how your content is, what your facial expressions and things like that. There's a specific thing called an R counter. An R counter is a person who records the number of filler words you use, the number of R's that you use, the number of is, likes, super, and things that you use repetitively. Now, these are things I have always known that I use it a lot. Number of R's I've always known since my childhood that I use a lot, and I've never consciously made an effort. I've probably heard people using R's very frequently and consciously, involuntarily, but it's not the best way forward. So when my evaluator first told me that this is the count that you had, I had to keep that record in my mind somewhere. And every time I make sure I have my hours counted. Every time I make sure I have my hours counted. And that helped me track my progress. And I've put that as a priority. That is a mini priority. Nobody else knows I'm working on it, to be honest. Nobody else knows that I'm working on it, but I have to make sure because that's something that's irritable to me. I'm not happy with my hours that I use a lot. So I keep a track record of it. I make that a priority. Maybe I tell my close friends to just notice whenever, say, for example, like Khushbu said, she frowns a lot. Tell your close friends that this is something that you're working on. And maybe in an impersonal chat, impersonal conversation after the end, they can bring that up that they've noticed so and so things. And that is a healthy conversation that you do where you're trying to improve each other. Keep a track record, always practice, and help somebody evaluate you on the side as well. Thank you, Gayatri, for the question. Do we have anybody else has any question, anything they want to talk about that I have missed and that would be helpful? I guess no. Rupender Nimit, do you want to take over?
We can go around the table and we can ask them the one thing that they learned today.
Perfect. So round the table. This is a virtual session. Who would like to go first? This is where your audios will be off for the first time in the session, where I'll hear your voices as well. Anybody would like to go first and talk about what they learned the most? Khushbu? Thank you.
I like the games you used to engage the whole audience, and I'm definitely going to use them in all my online sessions.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. That was great feedback. Thanks.
It's a small matter of a copyright. Anybody else?
Sonali, you keep naming people and take feedback from them. Otherwise, we all live in Lucknow.
Good. Yeah. Okay, I'll name people. Gayatri, go up next. And I'm going to see if somebody is leaving because then I'll just probably reach them out on personal. Don't worry. Yeah, Gayatri, go ahead.
So I appreciate the kind of efforts that you took for all these weeks and all these months, and then that culminated into one session. I really wish I can do that, to put all that experience and summarize it and present it that effectively. It was excellently presented session. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. Thank you. Thank you again. It took
Sonali,
me some time, yes, to do it. Rajesh, yes. For people who don't know, he's my family. He's a relative of mine, Rajesh Bajaj. Uh,
yeah, Sonali, first of all, I would like to congratulate for your very interactive session.
thank you, Masaji.
And as I am seeing you first time on this platform, and I felt very glad.
Thank
So
you.
next time I will join fully and participate fully.
No problem. Thank you, Masaji.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Rupender, go up. Yes, I know.
I am actually considering a future in HR recruiting because I have tried three people, and three of them, each one of them has come out better than the last one. I must say today you were probably the best of the best. And probably I have this knack for spotting talent. And maybe I should go into talent acquisition and HR recruiting kind of a thing. But honestly, wonderful session. And Rajesh, I'm very sure that you are immensely proud. And I would like to tell you that Sonali and a lot of people like her in our club continue to make us proud. I mean, I've been in this club for the last 5 years now. It's the first time in 5 years that I have felt so independent that I can leave an entire club meeting up to these people. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Rupender. That was very heartfelt. I would probably use my facial expressions to conceal the micro expressions there.
Sonali,
Okay.
my feedback for you is sorry for joining 20 minutes late, another engagement, but I am missing it terribly. I'm going to go Facebook live recording immediately after it because I don't want to miss what did you discuss for
YouTube,
those 20,
YouTube,
25 minutes.
YouTube,
YouTube.
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 My
You
apologies. So I will.
look for it on Facebook, you will not find it.
Thanks for saving me some trouble. Otherwise, after the session, also, I would love to speak with you because for me, the best thing about the session was it appeared as if you have prepared so much for it, but eventually, while delivering, you practice what you preach. It all came out naturally. So your entire body language expressions, your spontaneity, even with slight hiccups in between here and there, calling people up, someone not responding, you calling someone else up, it all maintained whatever you told us to practice. You all maintained, carried that gracefully on your face as well. And by the way, great poster. The poster itself gave me the trailer of the whole picture that we are witnessing here today. Brilliant session. I'm equally proud as Rupinder is.
Thank you so much, Anand. That was actually Rupender's idea to do a facial expression poster, and I love the poster. Thanks to Manpinder who helped us create that as well. Let's call people names. I want more positive and compliments. I'm feeling very happy. Probably want. Yes,
Yes,
who's it?
Sonali.
Hi,
I'm
Pratibha. Yes,
Pratibha.
her Pratibha ma'am.
Pratibha.
Yes, yes.
I'm from District 98. I really liked your
Welcome, ma'am.
session. What I liked most is the main expressions you took and you analyzed it with the poster. Like while doing those expressions, how we analyze is where are the lips, what are the eye position and all. And normally we don't pay so much attention to these our features. And in Toastmaster speech, half of the time we are thinking about timers, cards only. So
True,
the
true.
whole expressions are not that much we think about. But today you gave the
Correct.
importance how should we express ourselves to impress more, and I really liked it.
Thank you, Pratibha ma'am. Thank you so much. Actually, when I was preparing for this, I was looking at this. I knew about the 7 basic universal facial expressions, uh, but when I saw what to do and how to enact, I had to put in a lot of effort to first get comfortable. I was like, this is going to be a session on itself. It's going to be fun because my face was warmed up, and I've been working out for my body, but never worked out for my face uh, intentionally. And that is something that I like preparing for as well. I'm going to call out names. Dhananjay Khanna, he's my friend from my office. He's given me a few anecdotes that I've actually added in my session today. So thank you for giving me those. What did you enjoy, Dhananjay?
I just loved the entire session. How you, especially the anecdotes that your friend gave you.
Of course.
But yeah,
Okay.
the way you structured it, the way you put in exercises, and then the additional information that you gave us, all of it really summed it everything up. So it was good.
Thank you, Dhananjay. Simran, another friend, I think she's there on the call, but she's probably cannot be on the video. She's also written a lovely note. Thank you, Simran, for doing that. Kalyani Deshmukh, how was it for you? What did you learn? Something that you'll take away? You're on mute, Kalyani. You can speak up now. Yes, all you want.
It was my first time on Toastmasters, and I loved the way you delivered everything. You taught about the facial expressions, its importance. And being a doctor, I know how it is to deliver from your eyes to the patient and to know the patient, make patient comfortable. So it was great to know how it is difficult to like. We know how to strengthen our body, but to work on your facial expressions is really important. So thanks for like putting light on the topic.
Thank you, Kalyani. Thank you for all you do as a doctor as well. I'm hoping you'll do great. All the best. Thank you for joining us today. Sunil Kumar, how was it for you?
Yeah, thanks, Sonali. Thanks for putting up so much efforts in this session. And I was a little bit aware about the usage of facial expressions, but how powerful it is and how effectively we can use it. I came to know from this session itself. Execution was great, and content was again amazing. And I hope to see more sessions like this in future.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you again.
Hi,
Unique?
can I go next?
Yeah,
Nani?
yeah, Shruti. Sure. Go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for a lovely session. My like the moment I saw the flyer, it caught my attention, and I booked the calendar for me in my head. I have a question for you. In fact, whenever I practice speeches, I see that when I over practice, my expressions just go away because it starts sounding more robotic, and the more I practice, the feelings go away. So, do you have something I can do about it?
Right. So for that same note, I don't practice a lot, but I'm one of those who do definitely practice. Uh, if you've heard what I talked about my speech practice is I record myself. So there are 2 ways you can think about it. One is you practice so that you memorize the content. You learn the content by heart, you get connected with the content, and the other is you work on your body language. So that's a non-verbal communication part, and that's where you have to see yourself speak. The content is you have to hear yourself speak, and the other part is you have to see yourself. For the seeing yourself, I usually record myself. I look into the mirror, I ask somebody else to sit down and watch me do it. I take notes what I'm doing right or wrong. I do it maybe one more time, making sure that I implement, and I let go with the flow. So I want to be as spontaneous as well on the speech when I'm actually presenting. It's okay to have those hiccups. It's okay to do something wrong sometimes because that's how you learn. But having an over practiced version also makes you feel robotic, and that has happened with me also. That's why I try to limit it to a particular number where I feel comfortable with being spontaneous as well. I have some key pointers where I want to work, and I'm comfortable with my content as well as my non-verbal side as well. I hope that answers. If there are veterans here as well. If you guys have anything to say on this, Rupinder and Anand, please go ahead and pitch in.
Sonali, I totally agree with you. It happened with me that I memorized or rather tried to internalize a speech that much that at one point of time I was supposed to put my left foot forward and stomp it and put my left fist as well alongside. But in the flow of the speech, somehow my right foot and left fist came together. It became a rather awkward pose. From that day onwards, I stopped doing all these forced feet or hand gestures. I just let my body do whatever it is. In 3-4 different rehearsals, my body reacts all the way differently now on all during all the 4 rehearsals. But ultimately, all the 4 are right ones. There is nothing wrong body reaction.
That's a brilliant answer. Thank you, Anand, for pitching in. Shruti, I hope that answers.
That helps. Thank you, Sonali.
No problem. Manisha Datta, what did you learn today?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you, Sonali, for this program. It's really helped me, and I'm glad to be a part of this session. Be it from showing some concerns to our audience to get the attention of their audience, and how to control our expressions in those. I literally frown much, so I had this problem and the fear of speaking in front of people around, and this session helped me a lot. I'm taking away the biggest thing, and I'm really glad. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manisha, for your kind words. I'm sure everybody else will also resonate with this one. Natalie, where are you joining us from? How was this session for you? If you can unmute.
Hello, thank you very much, Sonati, for your professional workshop. I like it very much, especially it was well prepared, well structured, and a lot of example. And you have so much joy and dynamism. And wow, what I like the most. For me, it will be to start to think before about a funny thing, to smile when I begin my speech. It will be for me the takeaway. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you again. Do we have time for more, or should we?
Ajay has raised his hand.
Okay, Ajay raised. Okay, Ajay, do you want to come up?
Yeah, Sonali, thank you. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, I am not able to put my video on.
No problem, Ajay.
But I did attend the full session, and only one word is absolutely grateful for this session, because you have brought out something which is primary, as we all know, in communications. I think 58% is body language.
Yeah.
And that's amazing when you depicted each expression. Marvelous. I do agree with all the other speakers who have told that your efforts can be seen on screen. Fantastic. To bring it out in every fashion. It's really, the one which I really liked is something which you mentioned about Saudi Arabia, where the eye expressions can depict so much. I would love to learn that, because I am based in Dubai, and there are some clubs where you come across people where probably they have half of the face covered, and then it's a challenge. Then it's really a challenge. I would love to learn more about that. I'm sure I can reach out to Anant, and if it's something you can share as a video, I would love to watch that. One suggestion which I felt probably you could try it out, it's only something which may help, is when you ask somebody to enact a particular topic, the one which you did on a topic, by keeping your speaker on mute, don't read out the topic, type the topic to that person. Nobody should know the topic, and let the people guess what he's talking about. That will bring an amazing feature altogether, because people don't know the topic. Let's say you said marriage. Let the guy speak on marriage in whatever actions, body language, drama, whatever he wants to do, without the mic on. I am sure that may add a certain different vista to altogether to that particular aspect. This is only a suggestion. Probably you could try it out on another forum. It's amazing, because we do something like this in improv. Improv is impromptu acting. It's like table topics, but it's acting. And in that, sometimes you are absolutely blank. Then it's only expressions. So that's one suggestion. Probably you could try it out. Otherwise, the session, I think, fascinating. I mean, I've never come across a session like this. 3 cheers to you. All the best.
Thank you, Ajay. Love the actually suggestion. I couldn't have.
Just so you know, Sonali and I, when we initially discussed, I wanted her to actually do improv,
But then she said that, facial expressions are actually more, something more important because we are all communicating via video, and I agreed. I'm glad that I agreed with Sonali. I'm pretty sure she would have pulled off improv with the same ease as she did today.
Absolutely.
I totally
let's
agree.
let's have dumb charades next week.
Done.
रुपिंदर सर, आप वैसे ही जीनियस हो इन चीजों में. इम्प्रोव इम्प्रोव कहाँ, हम तो बच्चे हैं उस मामले में. You are too good.
Ajay, the reason for you not to share your screen, are you in the stadium right now?
I don't know. No. Stadium में नहीं है सर, सब कुछ allowed ही नहीं है. I was outside, so doing somewhere. So next time maybe we'll have a face-to-face.
Excellent, Ajay, and do come to our Thursday meetings as well. Sonali, I would like to take this opportunity to invite Ajay and everyone else to attend our Thursday meetings, which happen 6:45 p.m. to 9 p.m. India Standard Time. This is where all these learnings that Sonali has mastered, Nimit has mastered, Rupinder has mastered, we practice every week. There are Toastmasters, ex-Toastmasters, external Toastmasters, non-Toastmasters in this group right now in this session. Everyone, I invite you sincerely to join our session Thursday, 6:45 p.m. onwards. Every Thursday, Rupinder has just put Nimit has just put the link to join that in the chat. Please click on that, attend our meetings, and of course, you will receive an email from us as well about it. But if you want to see Sonali live in action and provide her a feedback after her prepared speech, this is where you will get to do that.
Thank you so
over
much.
to you, Sonali.
Sorry, just one line before I leave. Thank you so much, Anant. I did attend the last time, and I was really fascinated by 3-2-1 concept put by Rupinder. I loved it. And I always, as you said, all Toastmasters, external Toastmasters, etc. And I'll add what Rupinder said: could be, should be, and would be Toastmasters should also be there.
Of
That
course,
was
of course.
fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ajay.
Thank you, Ajay. Would love to see you guys join on Thursday meetings as well, where you will see how my facial expressions are more impromptu and where you'll see more hiccups than this one. So that will be the real one as well, where you can come and join me. Great.
Sonali, a couple of more feedbacks. Whoever wants to share it, let's open it to them.
Sure. Ishan Gupta, do you have any feedback? Do you have anything, a big takeaway from the session? Mr. Ishank, you can unmute.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm
Hi,
audible?
Ishank. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. So I'm Ishang. I'm a friend of Sonali. I've been friend with Sonali since a long time, and I've known her facial expression and speaking technique since a long, and we have already been very appreciative of it. So it feels proud to see her doing these things publicly. And although I've attended a small bit of it, but I'm pretty sure that she was very much prepared with it, and she must have, put in a lot of efforts, and it's good to see her doing this. So we are happy to see this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishank. Any feedback? I'm thank you for Ajay for the feedback. Actually, that's a good point. Any suggestions? How else could have I improved? What else could have I done differently? Anything who has something there?
Honestly, I'm just trying to get over what all you got right, especially that background. I mean, so we stress that don't use presentations, but that background was an excellent idea. I mean, it was very clever on your part. So I'm actually still figuring out what all went right, and then I'll go into where all we can improve.
Well, take your time there. I am available full Sunday. That's fine. But actually, that's a good point. I know Rupinder and me checked on whether I want to screen share, whether I should be screen sharing. And that's probably feedback for some of you who do presentations. Because when you screen share, your face is not visible. And in a session where I'm talking about facial expressions, it wouldn't have made sense if I screen share and showed somebody else's expressions rather than mine. So I got an idea, let's do a background image itself and let's do it a little creatively and replicate everything there. Great.
Actually, the idea behind when we do this turning point on Sunday meetings, and Anant has done quite a few of them. Nimit has done, Anshuman has also done. I actually stress on not using a presentation because I believe that Sundays meetings are about presenting and not about presentations. Actually, ever since Zoom has come, every one of us has taken to presentations in a big way. Everyone wants to show a PowerPoint and everyone wants to show an Excel sheet. It's almost like I've gone into the corporate world and I wanted a break from that. So, which is why I always tell people that everyone should present, not just deliver a presentation. So we try not to have presentations on Sunday at all. And I'm still trying to figure out that one day I will ask Anand to do probably a module on effective presentations. And how am I going to reconcile with the fact that Anand, you're going to do something on presentation, but you know what? You're not
Well,
doing
Rupinder,
PowerPoint or Google Slides or anything.
well, Rupinder, you are nearly there. I do take PowerPoint sessions on advanced MS PowerPoint sometimes. And my first and foremost advice is always there, don't use PPT as much as possible. And where you have to use it, join the session for that.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. And I think I will stop the YouTube live for now.